كيف تقيمون عمل مركز الملك عبد الله لمكافحة الإرهاب الدولي خاصة هنا على صعيد المنظمة الدولية؟
Well, as you know, Saudi, in fact, has been very active on the international front. Most recently, as you know, the United Nations Counterterrorism Center has been established within the UNCTATF and has really contributed very effectively to supporting implementation of this UN Global Counterterrorism Strategy. It's a very, very exciting strategy, I think, because it's the first universal document we have with all member states that have agreed to this counterterrorism strategy. It was adopted in the General Assembly in 2006, and Saudi Arabia has very generously contributed $10 million over the course of 3 years to supporting the implementation, in particularly across these pillars of activity. So that has been a very exciting development, particularly in the UN system. As we know, of course, a lot of experiences that Saudi has had at home, including in establishing the Mohammed bin Nayef Center on Rehabilitation, has been very valuable in providing a lot of experiences and lessons learned for other countries that are dealing with similar challenges. So whether it's as a member of the Global Counterterrorism Forum, as a member of the United Nations, and also in exchanges with groups like ours, with other experts, I think the experiences that Saudi Arabia has had in establishing this rehabilitation center, in pioneering some really very exciting programming, in terms of dealing with the rehabilitation question, that's been very valuable, and I think we've very much appreciated their active participation on a number of international levels in sharing their experiences, their expertise, and the lessons learned. In general, also, of course, they've been very active, as I said, in the GCTF, at the United Nations, and not only through the UNCCT, but I think as a very supportive member state on many of these issues. So really, we're seeing a very active role. I'm aware that there's a Security Council candidacy coming up as well, and I think a lot of these efforts will be much appreciated and considered as that goes forward.
كيف تنظرون إلى دور هذا المركز في محاربة الإرهاب ونشر التوعية اللازمة بين عامة الناس؟
Well, I think you've touched on a very critical issue. Being aware of the dangers of the threat and having that political willingness and leadership to address these, I think, has been incredibly helpful. As you know, there's a very real need to enhance prevention efforts, but also response capacities. A number of states are trying to do some of the things that Saudi Arabia has been able to do, but don't necessarily have the resources or the capacities. And that's why I think the UN Center, the UNCCT, is going to be extremely helpful in being able to allow more states to learn and sort of draw on those resources to build their own capacities, because as you say, the kinds of actions taken in Saudi Arabia, I think a lot of countries are looking to think about doing similar things, but this capacity building effort will, I think, be very helpful in broadening the effort on an international level. There's been a lot of appreciation because I know that he has personally been very involved in spearheading the UNCCT, and I think that has been a very, very valuable effort. And I think that particularly this is going to enhance Saudi Arabia's role very well in terms of being an international actor and partner, excuse me, in global counterterrorism efforts. And I think very much a lot of his efforts to build a modern Saudi Arabia at home are very much to be lauded. Particularly, I've seen most recently the campaign against domestic violence. This was I think, a very innovative, very powerful campaign, and I think sends a wonderful signal, not only domestically, but internationally, about Saudi Arabia's leadership on these kinds of issues.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.